All right, all right, all right. So, it is Brandon here again for another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a brief little reading out of one of my favorite books, Mastering the Core Teachings of the Buddha, on a certain person's book list that we're going to be mentioning here today as well. And now, if you look at the title of this video, Gotama Buddha and the Lion's Roar, and basically why Leo Gura might not be a complete asshole. It all ties together, and trust me, we're going to get into it here. So, first off, we're going to go to our book here, and we're going to, show where, Brandon's getting these ideas, sort of. So, I'm just going to read this. This is page 378 of Mastering the Core Teachings of the Buddha, an unusually hardcore Dharma book by the revised and expanded edition, so MCTB2, by the Arahant Daniel M. Ingram, Doctor. Sorry. So this is talking about different models of awakening, and here's one he talks about here: the radiance models. Related to the physical models are the radiance models, which involve imagining that awakened beings will have a remarkable presence, radiating love, charisma, wisdom, peace, or even perceptible light. A friend of mine used to joke about this by saying that people practicing Western Vipassana at the Insight Meditation Society thought that an arahant would be someone like Deepa Ma, a talented practitioner of Vipassana and Samatha who was known for her kindness, strong concentration abilities, and psychic powers, who died in anagami by her own admission, so third path, like 75% awake compared to you got the full 4 out of 4, bro. But anyway, that wasn't in the book. That's me telling you what an anagami is versus an arahant. Arahant 4 out of 4, 100%. Good job. Anyway, so by her own admission, she wasn't fully awake in this, Theravada Buddhist model. Anyway, let's go back to the book. But with light shining out of their ass. So there'll be like this person who, probably seemed like super nice and awakened and like fit all of the, normal like tropes and cliches of what an awakened, nice, calm, wise master of just great presence, that's what people think awakening is. Sometimes it might be, I don't know. But anyway, so this is a bit of a humorous exaggeration, but it makes the point that these ideals are so ingrained in us from many traditions that it is hard to not imagine that enlightened beings must have something remarkable about them that you could feel or see. Everyone knows that all saints have light coming out of their heads as Jesus did. Of course. You have to only look at medieval paintings of saints and saviors depicted with a nimbus or halo to confirm this. The stories of the Buddha are full of descriptions of his marvelous presence. In fact, his very first interaction with a human after his awakening went something like this. The newly awakened Buddha had gotten up after exploring the depths of his realization and abilities. He decided to go try to find his 5 companions who had been with him during his period of intense asceticism, and surveying the world with his psychic powers found they were at Benares. He took off walking down the road between Bodh Gaya and Gaya, and the first person the Buddha talked to after his awakening, who wasn't a god or a giant talking snake, it would be a naga, I believe, was the monk Upaka. I quote the Buddha as he tells the tale as rendered in Bhikkhu Nyanamoli and Bhikkhu Bodhi's English translation of the Middle Length Discourses of the Buddha, Sutta 26, as it is so priceless, containing such a wealth of information about the origin of these models and ideals. Upaka said, "Friend, your faculties are clear. The color of your skin is pure and bright. Under whom have you gone forth, friend? Who is your teacher? Whose Dhamma do you profess?" I, the Buddha, replied, to the Ajivaka Upaka in the stanzas. I am one who has transcended all, a knower of all, unsullied among all things, renouncing all, by cravings ceasing, freed. Having known this all for myself, to whom should I point as teacher? I have no teacher, and one like me exists nowhere in all the world, with all its gods, because I have no person for my counterpart. I am the accomplished one in the world. I am the teacher supreme. I alone am a fully enlightened one, whose fires are quenched and extinguished. I go now to the city of Kasi to set in motion the wheel of Dhamma. In a world that has become blind, I go to beat the drum of the deathless. And of course, Upaka replies, by your claims, friend, you ought to be the universal victor. And then Buddha says, the victors are those like me, who have won the two destruction of taints. I have vanquished all evil states. Therefore, Upaka, I am a victor. So, the Buddha sounds pretty legit there. Now, I will tell you, like, another guy who sounded pretty legit, seems pretty legit, like Leo Gura. Let's think about it. Nobody's awakened to alien God, not one person but Leo. Although Leo exists in your mind, although you exist in my, imagination, but not even like the concrete imagination, like just the mental, like mental formations portion of the imagination. If we're going to talk about like the aggregates in Buddhism. So like in my mental sensation field sort of thing, I imagine that you out there have a mind in the sense of like consciousness, awareness, experience itself. And then there's this Leo Gura that is in that mind thing that you're also more like imagining on the mental formation level of things. You're thinking about Leo Gura and you're thinking about how he tells you about he's the most awake thing ever, but then he says that he's only in your mind and he's telling you to wake up. And that's just him saying that, so hopefully he can get the message to you, even though he knows he's the only one who exists in the universe except for the infinite gods in his brain. So, which aren't in his brain, they're in his, his mental formations, we might say. So, with all of that, we come to think, it's an interesting thing. So, Leo Gura says he's the most awake person ever. This, in a sense, is a sign of a good teacher, someone who knows what they're talking about. Why? Well, if we look at the Buddha, and if we look at Jesus, and if we look at probably Muhammad too, I'm not a big, like, I had this pun joke come up in my head when I was thinking about making this video a few minutes ago, and I was going to say, like, I don't know much about Muhammad. I take after the chosen one, Anakin. I don't like sand. But then I thought, that's not really that funny because, well, for one, most people aren't going to see that reference that clear as you would in the moment, so they're probably not going to laugh. But then also, like, Jesus is also a sandy guy by region of origin, and, there's plenty of grains of sand in the Ganges, as they say, as the Buddhas might say, or, Siddhartha Gotama might say. So what does all this mean? Like, also Krishna, dude, if you go read the Bhagavad Gita, you'll see how big Krishna's nuts are just from his own proclamations. Like, he's dunking, he's teabagging on you motherfuckers. Like, it doesn't matter. He's like, the descriptions of anybody, whether it's a fictional character or a real character, like, it's so common everywhere. Anyone who's awakened to any level is gonna at some point come out and say, even if it might be premature, it might be wrong, it might be dumb in a sense, but they're gonna come out and they're gonna say, I'm the hottest shit off the block. I'm the newest bread since the knife which slices was created. And you know what? Suck my fucking balls, man, because I am epic. Because I had this awakening thing happen. And I saw through this illusion that wasn't there in the first place to see that reality is the fucking same thing and you're not going anywhere. Like, in a sense, I really like that Chogyam Trungpa was saying in Crazy Wisdom, I believe. Or it could have been Journey Without Goal, because I did read both those books very recently. He was basically saying, like, you should see that, like, once you go through the whole journey of awakening, you see that you didn't need to take the journey. Why do you see that? Because you see that you can't get anywhere else other than you are. Why is that important? Well, like, if we talk about Buddhism, it's all about craving and clinging, and how if you're not craving, you're not clinging, you're not wanting to be something else, you're actually just existing right here, right now, like fully satiated. Experience has a very different thing, and actually experience can dismantle itself if there is absolutely no craving, clinging, no ignorance whatsoever, and there's just the absolute kind of willing to look at the absolute, you could say. If that happens, that's kind of what cessation is in my experience. Or, well, I guess technically you don't experience it, or maybe you do. I don't know. That is, it's debatable. And whether Brandon Rose, had the attainment of cessation, very debatable. I'll even debate him on that. So, yeah, this is just a quick video. Now we get back to the whole thing, the Lion's Roar. That wasn't a clickbait title at all. That was actually, like, as spot on of a title I feel like I've made in years, for, like, the content of the video, to title ratio. Just fucking perfect, right? So, the Lion's Roar. What is the Lion's Roar? Well, it's basically like the Buddha does his full awakening, power up shit, and then he's, I'm fucking awake, bitches. That's basically the Lion's Roar, as far as I understand it. And I'm going to say, from my Brandon Rowe perspective, I'm fucking awake too, bitches. Go watch my other videos. Like, you'll see some crazy videos where I probably look stupid in them. Like my most manic, ungrounded fucking videos. There are some claims to attainments that I make, and they may be right or wrong or whatever, but it's more like just showing if somebody does get so confident that they're just going to make a complete ass out of themselves. We don't know exactly how awake they are, or what kind of realization they got to, or how far they got on the spiritual path, but it is a sign that maybe they at least got far enough to throw their own better judgment off. And that's a sign that they maybe got somewhere, maybe didn't. Again, like Daniel Ingram isn't a huge fan of overcalling attainments, and he warns against it. But it's like, who overcalled the attainment? Jesus, Krishna, the Buddha, Leo Gura, Brandon Rowe, or you? Like, which, if they all said they're the hottest shit since sliced pancakes, that's not even a funny joke. But if we're all claiming to be badass motherfuckers, and maybe, potentially, according to Leo Gura, sort of, all of this is happening within this direct experience thing, which I'm having, and you guys are just like NPCing here. Allegedly. I'm not claiming that. But, or, well, it depends who you say I is. So yeah, I'm getting sidetracked here, but yeah, Lion's Roar. If you awaken enough, you'll start being a jackass because you'll be so hyped up. But yeah, the question is, answer in the comments. This gets to the promotional part of this video. Like, subscribe, share on Instagram this video, even if you can't, because the platform doesn't allow sharing of YouTube directly or something. Maybe it does. I'm not really on there much. The point is, answer in the comments, who do you think was the most awake of all these people who claimed at some point or the other to be the most awakened motherfucker ever? Was it Jesus Christ? Was it Krishna, Lord Krishna? Was it Leo Gura, the master of suppository psychedelic usage. The master. Like, he's the one who got everybody onto it. I mean, people had done it before, but nobody has done it as good as well as Leo Gura. I mean, that is his signature. Alien God. I mean, you don't even know how far he's going. He's going way further than that, bro, because he's still got an anus, and that means he's limitless. Luckily. So there's Brandon Rowe, Jesus Christ, Krishna, Leo Gura. There's also Frank Yang. Frank Yang, honorable mention. You know, we didn't really bring him into this video earlier, but honorable mention. Was he the most awake? Anyway, answer in the comments, who was the most awakened temporary being which doesn't have an actual, real permanent self that exists outside of this whole thing, like on its own. It's just, in the same, emptiness, dependent origination, fucking Indra's web, mind fuck on each other thing. See you guys later.